Hello and welcome to episode 52 of the Back Nine Six Pack. My name is Mitch, joined as always by my esteemed colleague Justin. Shandy season was in full force. Master Sunday in the 70s. Just a peak spring day in Ohio and in Georgia.
Well, especially given the Masters on, you got the windows open. We had a party, doors open, just perfect, perfect weather to be able to enjoy the Masters, um, and a pretty good one for the most part.
Yeah, for
I
the most
think.
part. I mean, we will dive deeply into all of that. This is our 2024 Masters recap show. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you for watching. Please subscribe. Hit the like button, do all that fun stuff. If you're listening to us, would love if you subscribe to the podcast, rate and review the show. That helps us out a ton. And last thing I'll ask you to do, follow us on social media at Back96Pack. Back real quick on Shandy season. I'm trying to workshop this take. Maybe we can just do it live here. I'm trying to think of what is a season that, yes, so you got it right there. Shandy season burns brightly, but I feel like it's got a short window.
Yeah, yeah. I was talking today about that because I was talking about our party and stuff, and this person I was talking to is a big Shandy person right now as well. And I truly think that it goes up maybe like a little past Memorial Day and then it's done. Like as soon as it gets like too hot, it's done. Because these do not sit well in your belly if it's over, I don't know, 80 degrees, 85, I would say. Because that's when I usually
Yeah.
stop drinking them, is about Memorial Day, maybe a little after.
Yeah, I feel like it's even shorter than that. It's like a 2 week window. Once the weather turns in March and then we get through the Masters, I feel like boom, that was Shandy season. That was the peak of Shandy season, and the rest is just kind
I
of like
would,
a
yeah, I'm not going to disagree with that because after I run through this 12 pack, I think I've got three left. Um, will I buy it again? I might like for the opening of a pool, maybe because I think it's a good pool beer. I'm going to hot take elite pool beer.
yeah.
As long as it's not like 100 degrees outside. But that might be about it. That might be the last. I mean, I might buy one and more 12 pack of it, and that's going to be about it. So I would
Yeah.
agree with you.
Nice. Yeah, I'm trying to find a comparable, but I'm struggling. So, but at least we at least we talked through that, got through it. Speaking of which, I'm gonna go ahead. Got a little nooner tonight. I don't know if I could do another beer right now. To be honest with you.
Yeah, I didn't go as hard as you guys did at the party. I was a lone wolf this week in my house. Had all the kids by myself. I was maxed out at a couple, just for sheer purposes of being responsible for three extra people outside of myself. It was fun watching everybody get after it, though. I appreciated that. Little shout out to Nick. He had a nice cocktail, like a house cocktail ready for everybody. I did not drink one, but they look good.
They were good. Can confirm. It was very good.
Yeah, it looked
All
really
right. I
good. I
think
think
we.
was it. Hold on, real quick. What was it called? The Azalea? Was it like what they were actually serving at the course?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, that's
It was
top
like the.
notch hosting right there.
Yeah. He had a little sign out with the exact measurables and everything. I mean, but
Top
Chef's
notch.
kiss on that one. Yeah, top notch. All right, Scottie Scheffler wins the 2024 Masters. We'll kind of go through. We've got a few segments here just to kind of talk through it all, but just high level overall thoughts. Scottie gets a second green jacket, second major. He's obviously been on an extended long run of success. What is the sky the limit here? What do we think?
Man, first off, I read a lot today about what people thought happened, and a lot of like low key Scottie Scheffler slander, and I didn't like it. Look,
No,
there were guys that fell apart. That was well documented, right? Like it seemed like he was, and he wasn't the only one that made it through Amen Corner unscathed. But it sure felt like it, right? Like just because of the guys that were nearest to him, kind of did give some back on Amen Corner, but a lot of low key slander, like it fell into his lap. I'm gonna tell you this right now. I think if all those guys don't give back shots on aim and corner, then no one's catching him. Like just the way he was playing, putter was not great, but good enough, right?
Yeah, I mean, it truly felt, just kind of to your point there, it felt like he was going to shoot or do whatever he needed to win, regardless of what everybody else around him was doing, you know? It just felt like he
Yeah,
was that in control of the tournament at that point.
yeah, for sure. Like if he had to get to 12, he would have gotten to 12. Like
Yeah.
without a question, he would have found a way coming in to get to 12, but didn't even need 12. Didn't even need 11 really. So
No. All right, before we move on to just kind of dive in a little deeper, got to shout out our guy, Jay Green, the official caddy of the Back Nine Six Pack. Got to loop a full weekend at Augusta National Golf Club, on the bag for Grayson Murray, of course, on the backs of their win at the Sony Open. I think you got a few more little insider peeks into this than I did all weekend, so I'm gonna throw it to you.
yeah, what a cool experience. And he posted on Facebook a lot of photos. Had his wife there, his dad there. Some got some snaps throughout the week, which was really cool. Like when he first put his caddy suit on, which he's like, let's let it rip. Thought that was pretty awesome. Dude, I'm so happy for him. Like just knowing like how much of a struggle last year was for him as a caddy to be able to like, this is like, and this is just the beginning for them, right? You know, they still have three more, at least two more majors. If he plays well enough, he might sneak into the Open. But, dude, I mean, the pictures were phenomenal. Like, I can't even imagine, like, just, I don't really know his dad well, but, like, just seeing your son kind of reach that pinnacle, maybe not as a player, but, like, just to be out there on a Sunday. I got the chance. I did catch on Saturday and Sunday. I caught them making, going through Amen Corner. I mean, the Sunday too was really cool. Like they were pretty much the only group back there at one point. Like 11 green, 12 tee box. So we got to see a lot of them. But yeah, dude, what a cool experience for him. I'm so happy for him. And when that cut moved to 6, like I didn't know it. I was at a basketball game, and you guys like the cut moved to 6. I'm like, holy crap! It's like he's making it to the weekend. I didn't even think about anything else other than I knew he was going to make it to the weekend. Haven't seen Grayson finish at 6 pretty early on Friday. I think he got done at like 12 o'clock or something. He was the first one out on Friday, or one of the first ones out on Friday. So long wait for them, but 100% worth it, I would imagine.
Yeah, I mean, 51st place finish. Obviously, not how they wanted to end it all. Saturday was a tough day out there for everybody, and that was no exception for them. But come back out there and shoot 70 on Sunday, back 9 32 with an eagle on 15. Like, I mean, what a awesome Sunday afternoon to get to have.
Yeah, and I'm wondering, and eventually we'll get him back on here. I'm just wondering what that conversation was, maybe making that turn on Sunday. Like, look, dude, it doesn't get better than this, right? Like, we're making the turn at the Masters. Look, we're not in contention. Maybe that's how it gets better, but like, we're gonna make the turn. Let's shoot a low number and put a good score. Like, I'm sure that's kind of along the lines of how their conversation went. But I'm curious to ask him when we get him back on again to see what those conversations were like and all that. So.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get to follow him around, up at Memorial or down, in Louisville at Valhalla for the PGA.
Heck,
so
yes,
yeah, gonna be some good days ahead. So, all right, deep diving on the Masters here. We've got 3 main segments. 2 of them are very specific to the Masters. We're gonna start with superlatives here. So just a quick little 6-pack of some best and worst, and like I said, superlatives, right? I wanted to start off with best moment. And for this one, for me, I kind of struggled because I was trying to. It's hard to like dissociate between like best shot and like best moment and things like that, or most memorable moment, which is the one we have later on here. But I went with Scottie's eagle on 13 on Saturday, coming off the double and the bogey on 11 and 12 there. Felt like things could have slipped away from him, and then like absolutely buries a bomb of an eagle putt, a fist pump like we never see Scottie give. Just really felt like, okay, like, yeah, this is truly his tournament. Like you guys are just all here to play for second.
Yeah. So I went a little different direction. I do like that. I thought that was a turning point where it's like, I don't care if he's down one, down two, like if he, screws up the last 6 holes, 5 holes, it ain't gonna matter. Like this dude's winning this tournament. And that's kind of where I was like, look, he didn't hit the ball particularly well on Saturday, but like watching him make a couple bombs and then he make that one, you're like, dude, doesn't matter what happens from here on out. Like he's winning this tournament. But I do like that
Yeah.
one. That was a good moment. I went a little different direction. Best moment for me was Tiger shaking Vern's hand on Sunday. His
Yeah.
last time through with Vern calling 16. Obviously, history there just from how Tiger played his 100th Masters round this weekend, and then obviously the call, right? We'll just call it that, right? The call of the chip behind 16. So I thought that was a really cool moment. Both are just absolute goats. Vern's the man.
Yeah.
And it's cool to see Tiger because he was never like this, right? It's cool to see Tiger to like it feels like now he's kind of taking a step back and go, I don't have much longer of this, and he's kind of like making the most of it.
Yeah.
Just with Shipley on Sunday, felt like old Tiger would have just probably walked 5-10 feet in front of him, maybe maybe a couple conversations, but it seems like they talked the whole time. So it's cool to see that, and that was like that symbolized to me of like Tiger's taking a step back and like really soaking everything in, which we've never really seen that side of him ever. So, and I thought that was a good representation of it.
Yeah, we real quick before we move on, I guess let's just hit on Tiger real fast. Man, like when we did the preview show, you sold on, his contention that he thought if the right things came together, he could win another one. I bought it purely out of just respect for the GOAT. But watching that this weekend, it's hard to even like, if that's what it looks like and how much it takes just to get, to finish last and to make the cut, but then to finish last among those that made the cut, like, I don't know if there's anything left in the tank beyond that.
Yeah, well, that's a great segue because our next superlative is worst moment. And my worst moment was him shooting 82 on Saturday. I didn't buy into
Yeah.
like, look, I thought he played really good on Thursday and Friday. He did. I mean, considering Friday wasn't as tough as Saturday, but it was still, there were some tough conditions out there on Friday for him to kind of pull it together, make the cut. But Saturday was like, hey, like there might not be any magic left in the tank, right? Like they're just physical limitations. Father time is just not going to let it happen. So that was my worst moment. Was from just a standpoint of as a fan, right? It was just like, man, this is. If you didn't think it was over before, like this has got to make you think it's over now. Like it's not going to happen again. Which is fine, right? I think we could all live with 2019 being the last time.
Yeah, I'm still not entirely sure I'm ready to give up the ship on it. The problem with Tiger is he always gives you like a little bit of a reason like that you can make an excuse, right? Like it was, he had the back was flaring up. He's got icy hot like over his entire body. He's got the back patch going. Like maybe it really was like maybe he just had back problems and like it just wasn't going to happen. But like if he didn't have that, who knows? I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's obviously more likely than not, of course, that he's not going to really make another run at one. But I don't know if his back holds up and he can walk a flat course over in Scotland. Yeah, he could pull a Tom Watson, like
Maybe. Yeah.
he's got the talent. It's always his body, right?
Yeah. But the only problem with the Open, and we kind of saw this in the Masters last year with him, is if it's not perfect weather, it's bad. Like it's just like anything, right? When you're sore, cold's just going to make it worse, right? And so with the weather that you can sometimes get over there, it's like even if it's just one round, right? One round where it's raining and chilly, and he's done, right? It almost has to be like stars align, perfect weather throughout the week, and on a flat course, which most of them are flat over there. But yeah, Look, I don't want to write it off, but I think I did last week, and I'm still writing it off. Like I'm living with the fact that 2019 was it, and I'm okay. Like I sold myself that that's okay, right? Like, and we've got that moment. So
Yeah. All right. Worst moment for me. You could probably see this coming from a million miles away. Zach Johnson telling the
I
fans.
wanted to do it, but I was saving it for you. I was. I knew
Thank
I
you.
knew this was coming.
The very like obvious caught on camera fuck off to the crowd on 12 across Rays Creek, and then to come in afterwards and completely act like he had no idea what happened, and that he would never do that when it's like literally on
Dude.
camera.
Yeah, it's like we saw it, right?
I mean, the big he like tried to play it off like he was like mad at himself, but like, come on, we're all golfers. You know, it's an immediate like fuck you when you say it to yourself. That was like a after the applause happened, the ball he picked up out of the hole already and said it would fuck off. Like, get out of here! What an absolute loser!
He does. I mean, it's a loser mentality. Like, here's the thing: I don't fault him for saying that back at the crowd. Like, if you're frustrated, like we all say things when we're frustrated, right? It's the fact that he came in and tried to tell us what we saw was actually what we saw, and it's like, dude, we definitely saw what we saw. Just own it, right?
Yeah.
Like, you were frustrated. You just took a big number. It's not been your, the last 6 months have not been your best 6 months, right? And it's kind of all coming together. Just own it. Just say, like, I got frustrated, and but the fact that he tried to like cover it up is just, that's what made me more mad about it. I'm like, come on, dude, come on, like,
Yeah. He was like basically apologized. He's like, well, especially because it was caught on camera. He was like, so essentially, if it wasn't caught on camera, he was just going to deny until he died.
What isn't caught on camera at Augusta, right? Like, you have to assume anything you do is caught on camera. Like, there's so many.
Yeah.
There's probably 500 cameras out there. Something, if you do something, especially on a putting surface, it's going to be heard and seen. Period.
No doubt.
Idiot.
All right. I'll toss it back to you. Best shot that you saw this weekend.
I don't know if it was the absolute best shot, but for me, had to be Scottie's approach in 9 on Sunday. 9 on Sunday.
Yeah.
If you didn't feel it during the Eagle, you're just like this. Like, and this was like was it right after Ludwig had sunk that long putt? Yeah, it was.
Yep.
It was like, oh boy, this is going to be this is a freight train. Get out, get off the tracks, because I mean, everybody seemed to be struggling with that approach shot, not really wanting to take on that false front. He just hits it up on the backboard, sucks it back, almost makes it, sucks it back to like 4 inches or whatever it was. That was the best shot in the moment. Knowing what we knew, Ludwig making that putt, and it felt like maybe some momentum shifting, and then all the momentum got sucked out of the air from anybody else when he hit that shot.
Yeah, I have that down for mine as well. Just like you said, given the moment, the combination of the moment and the shot, and honestly, it was probably the most. I think that was the biggest roar that I heard on the weekend too. Right, was like,
For sure.
It was that moment. It was the most electric moment of the tournament. I feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah, he hit his drive 358. He had about 90 yards in. Just dropped the wedge exactly in like the 6-inch area where it needed to be to end up where it did. Tap in from 6 inches, and we're moving on to the back 9. So
yeah,
that was it for me as well. Flip side, I got a lot of candidates here. I'm gonna need your help picking one. Worst shot that you saw. Do you want me to go first?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, we got some options here. Ryan Fox on 13 on Friday, the sod father, absolutely just the dead chunk right into Rays Creek on 13. We go check out our Instagram. I threw together a little Kenny Loggins mashup with that shot. It definitely seemed like he had gotten the back 9 6-pack, got out over his skis, and started chili dipping wedges.
Dude, the buzz chunks are a real problem. They can be. They definitely can be.
Yeah, so that was one for me. Okay, the start of JT's meltdown on Friday was,
oh my God,
he missed drive left on 15, and I assume he was trying to lay up, and he hits like this low rope hook around the trees on the left, and just completely runs it straight into the water. Like this is like a shot that like I would hit, or you know what I mean? Like you could put me out there, and this is what I would do. That was, I mean, it was like, I don't know, it barely got off the ground. It was wild. Also on 15, Bryson on Saturday. I think this is the moment I text you about. I was like, that just gave me so much life when he chunked his 7-iron length wedge into the water there on 15. And then last but not least, Max smothered and covered one. We had a true Waffle House at the Masters, number 7 on Sunday. If you've heard me say the phrase Waffle House and have not seen it in person or in real life, go watch that tee shot on number 7 on Sunday from Max. That is a Waffle House ball.
Definition of a Waffle House for sure.
Yeah. So look, if you make me pick one, I think the Bryson chunk is the worst shot.
I mean, I only had one down. I mean, I thought of those as well, but just the fact of like you heard all week about the stupid 3D printed clubs, and you know we all know it's constantly reminded that he has the same length in all of his irons. To watch him stub a wedge that's the same length as a 7-iron into the water, oh, it made my heart happy. That's the only way to describe it. It made my heart happy.
The thing about having all of the players back together, from PGA Tour and Live is like, it really did reinforce for me, like in sports, you just need people to root against. And there was one thing it felt like across this country yesterday was that nobody wanted Bryson to win the tournament. And you just need to have a guy like that on the leaderboard.
And I'll tell you, and this is a kudos to him. I feel like he's like really grasped that fact, right? And he's kind of playing into the, I don't want to say villain. That's not like the right word, but kind of like he knows that if he wins, it's going to make a lot more people unhappy than it will happy. I think he's kind of played into that a little bit. But yeah, there was no one rooting for him. 0 people. Almost 0, probably. Yeah.
All right. On to a couple here. Funniest thing you saw. That's where we're going to go next. Again, this is a category I've got a lot of options in, so I'll let you lead this one.
I've got 2 that I need to choose between. We'll get off the Bryson train for just a second. My first one was Ludwig coming off 9 on Sunday, eating a power bar. By the way, our guy Ryan might be the old snack daddy because, dude, this guy Ludwig is constantly eating something on the golf course, by the way. But he's walking off 9. He's eating the power bar. Man of the people, high-fiving people. Somehow a fan knocks his power bar out of his hand. And it wasn't like that, right? Like, I'm sure that's happened before for a player, like eating something. It was the fact that like he turns around, like the look he gives these guys, and everybody just starts dying laughing. And I thought that was really funny. I think Ludwig probably has a lot more fans after this week. Just dude doubles 11. He's just like walking off, like smiling and like kind of laughing, like truly low key, level headed guy. That's like a lot of mannerisms too. I found I didn't know that about him. I've watched him, but he had a lot of faces and looks and things like that. But that power bar moment, walking off 9 was pretty funny.
Yeah, it's funny because he's like you said, he's kind of like just chill and like easygoing, laid back or whatever. But he does like have a lot of like emotive moments, like some weird, funny facial expressions and reactions. He's incredible to watch, like all around because of that.
Yep. My second moment, and I don't want to steal this from you, but I'm probably back to Bryson. Thursday, what does he shoot? 67, 66, something like that. He's walking up 18. He takes his hat off, and people are clapping and all this. And he forgets that he has his hat off. So like he kind of does this. He has it off, and people are clapping. And he goes to like grab the bill of his hat, and it's not there. Then he like tries to play it off like he like rubs his forehead like that. But you could totally tell he was looking for the hat bill. dude, it's like it epitomizes
Oh,
him. It just absolutely like it, and that's when you're like, is it fake? Like, is it fake? All this playing it up and all it has to be, but I don't think it is. I think he's just a goofy guy.
yeah, I
I
think that's the
truly
thing
think
is
that's what it is.
he's so earnest about it, and that's what makes it even worse because it's like the rest of us on the outside can see like, kind of like it's borderline cringe a lot of the time. It's he's one of those people that thinks he's the smartest in the room, and it's like very obvious that he's not. Uh, and so it
Common
just makes
sense
everything
smart.
even funnier.
Common sense
Yeah,
smart. He is
maybe.
not the smartest guy in the room. I truly believe like his engineering brain, SMU, he is like he's book smart. And that's why he's so awkward, I think.
I just think I think he's confident enough that he's that smart, but he's not. It's like it's the same thing that Phil suffers from. It's the same exact thing.
Like big brain.
Uh, yeah. It's just big brain stuff.
Oh,
That's funny that I had forgotten about the content factory that we got from Bryson just in like a day and a half
dude,
was
Thursday and
unbelievable.
Friday, you didn't even have to watch the rest of the tournament. You could have. There was enough moments in those 2 days for him that it would have fulfilled
He was
everything.
absolutely feeling himself out there from like
Oh,
go.
yeah.
It was wild. I mean, Thursday. So just to stick on Bryson for a second, because my funniest thing is Bryson carrying the sign. Like, but yeah. Speaking of Jesus, he looked like Jesus Christ carrying the cross. Like,
I saw a bunch of memes. It was like who carried it better? It was like him and next to the picture of Jesus carrying a cross. Like only him would like pick that up out of the ground, and you can kind of see the usher or whatever you want to call him, like
yeah,
worker, like what the fuck are you doing, dude? Like let us do it. Like didn't even know what to do. The guy just rips a sign out of the ground.
yeah. That was my funniest moment. But I mean, we got that. We got the hat tip. There was the moment with him and like he's like waving Charles off the green or whatever, and there's like a weird screenshot of him just like it looks like he's dabbing almost. Like it was wild.
I forgot about that
Then
one.
we find out in the later on that he's playing with long drive competition Woods, and his irons are 3D printed, and he just got them approved by the USGA this week. Like, then he gets in the his interviews after his press conference, and he's like talking about how people are coming up to him and be like, "Thank you for everything you've done online," like about his YouTube channel. He's just like,
You're such an
it's
inspiration.
unbelievable. Yeah, it's oh my god, it's so good. Like I was just eating it all up. I was blowing you guys up with Bryson on Thursday and
I
Friday.
think I said that in our text group. Then I was like, look, you can hate him, but golf is just better with him around. Like whether you like it or not, like it just is. It just truly is better with him around. Because it is as a content factory. Like even when he was on Live, remember that first year he got hit with the rope? Dude, I saw that video for like 3 weeks after that happened. He's an absolute content factory, and I'm here for it. And that he's one of the reasons we just got to get this back together. We just have to.
Yeah, and never mind the fact he's walking around with that stupid Crushers logo on all of his stuff. Like, it's just so, it's too much.
Oh, Gunt on Sunday was like, dude, that's kind of a sick logo. And I was like, please tell me you're kidding. Please tell me you're kidding. But shout out to Gunt. He thought it was a sick logo.
Dude, it literally looks like a beer league softball logo. That's what it is.
I never thought of it that way, but it definitely does. But dude, I'm here for all the Bryson content. Like dude, load it up. Just absolutely. I'm so much looking forward to the PGA now because I feel like we're just barely getting to the edge of what could actually really happen with him. So
yeah. We're gonna get more to Bryson here in a bit. All right, last superlative here. I wrote down most memorable moment, but just kind of like what will stick with you from this Masters overall. Do you think? Like when you look back on the 2024 Masters, what is that first thought?
Look, Scottie earned it. He was going to win, but dude, like these guys were humming. Like you had Ludwig coming off the birdie on 9. You had you had Max. It seemed like he really wasn't doing anything wrong other than just not making putts. Definitely
Yeah.
wasn't. You didn't think it was going to be a full swing that was going to get him, right? Maybe a 3-putt or something like that. Colin, literally the best iron player in the world, flailing an iron into 11 Lake. Ludwig hitting just the guys that you're like, okay, someone's going to stand up to Scottie, and then it was just like implode. Which just shows you like those guys they had all the momentum on their side. A lot of them were playing some of their best golf going into the back nine, and just shows you what like 11 and 12 can do to your psyche pretty quickly. And 11 makes a little more sense. Longer par 4, water, you got a longer iron into the green. 12 is just like this anomaly that I don't know why it's hard, but it is. So,
Yeah.
and I think they said it perfectly on the broadcast. They were like, Max missed his spot by 2 yards, and he ends up in a freaking bush. It's just one of those, man. It's just everybody imploding. That's what I'm going to remember. I mean, look, I'm going to remember Scottie's play, but just like those guys, their strengths ended up costing them, which is surprising.
Yeah, I had the same thing. We're reading each other's mail here. I had the same thing written down, just like how we got to Amen Corner and all of a sudden everybody's wax melted except for Scottie's. Like they were just gone within
Yeah.
like 2 holes. It was just they were gone.
Yeah, it was like it was literally 2 holes. It was like this is a tight tournament. 2 holes later, it was like, shit, Scottie's got a 2-shot lead, going in the 13. So, truly amazing.
And I mean, the cool thing about Scottie too is like he wasn't going to make a mistake, but he also wasn't like fully letting off the gas. Like he wasn't just trying to guide it home, like he still went for it on 13 and 15 and, hit excellent shots there. Yeah, he just didn't do the thing where he let off the gas and maybe somebody creep back in. He went and closed it out.
Yep.
Which is from a lot of the week to week stuff we see, you don't, there's not many people that do that right now.
No. And I mean, that tournament was a great tournament for 64 holes. It was in the last, I'd say, outside of Tiger's victory, as far as like pure drama and having a bunch of guys kind of right around the mix, the first 64 holes were fantastic, especially that front 9 on Sunday. It was like tied. All right, he's got a 1-shot lead. Now there's 3 guys tied for the lead. It was really, really good stuff, I thought.
Yeah, I mean, the course, like, oh, man, for the weather that we got on Thursday, and we thought, this could be all, the wind, but, like, the course just held up. That's why it's the best, right?
Yeah.
Like, the thing about Augusta, even when they push it, like, this is probably about as tough as you'll see it play outside of, really bad weather. And it just, like, still has that risk-reward element where you can still, I mean, you could still, Tom Kim shot 66 yesterday, like, there weren't that many low scores out there, but
could be had.
You could still there's still birdies you can make. It's not just like you're completely playing defense all day like you are, at some U.S. Open setups or whatever. So
yeah, for sure. Yeah.
The Masters just remains undefeated.
Undefeated.
All right. We in our preview show we did a little buy or sell segment. We liked it so much, got some good feedback. Figured we'd run it back here just to get us through some quick hitting things here as we, look back in the Masters and look forward to. So, first one, are you buying or selling Scottie's chances at a Grand Slam this season? I see that look.
I'm gonna buy.
I am too. I'm buying. I don't want to be prisoner of the moment, but man,
the only thing that I want me to sell is the fact that he's about to have a kid. And look, we know that feeling, like we're not even professional golfers, but it's tough, man. Like new fatherhood, like especially new fatherhood, like you're a brand new dad. It's tough. It's tough to find that balance. And like right now it's like, it's golf and family, right? And then it's going to be golf and like extra time with the family because you got a newborn at home. I'm buying it because I truly think we had the best players in the world at the top of the leaderboard, and he didn't flinch, right? And if that putter is just even remotely competent, because I don't think he putted amazing, is just competent. He didn't miss any short putts. no one's going to touch him, right? And that's been the same story for the last 2 years, pretty much. If he putts well, it's over, or even okay, it's over. So I'm buying it with the asterisk of I want to see how he handles being a new dad first. So
Yeah, we really are reading each other's mail tonight because I'm also buying, and my only hesitation was the same thing you said, and it's not just like, okay, it's not because you have a lot of more, you're dedicating more time to your family or whatever. It truly is like the life change aspect of it. Like I don't think it's not gonna like ruin his life, like how some people say whatever,
yeah,
things like marriage or having kids do. But Scottie is such like he is a family man, and there's just always that draw. Once you have a kid, there's just that draw. There always is that draw on your heart that if you're not with them, it just that can change you. It really does.
Yeah, it's like seeing a curveball for the first time, right? You grow up and you're playing baseball, and all you see is fastballs, right? And it's like someone throws you the curveball for the first time, you're like, "What the fuck was that?" Like,
Yeah.
it's truly what it feels like having a kid for the first time. Yeah, we'll see how he handles it. Shout out to him though. By the way, he is definitely one of us though. He's getting in like the last 3 moments. Guy flies back from the Masters, goes straight to a dive bar in Dallas, truly extending out that like, okay, this is my last couple of weeks of freedom. I love it. Truly one of us.
Yeah. All right, and so this is part of the reason I'm buying that too, because our next one, kind of projecting out a little bit here, but you can take it shorter term if you want to. Do you buy or sell Ludwig being Scottie's biggest challenger in the majors for the next 3 seasons?
I'm gonna buy this one as well. Yeah, I mean, think about that. That was that guy's first major ever. And if you didn't know that and you were just watching, you would have thought that guy was a vet. Like the way he was just kind of handling himself out there. Look, he'd had the bad shot on 11, but look, guys that had played in a lot more majors than him were doing the same exact stuff when they got to 11 and 12 as well. So that guy's just ultra talented, and it's stupid how good he drives the golf ball. U.S. Open is going to be right up his alley. You want to talk about needing to hit the ball straight and far. I mean, that's him, right? So, yeah, I'm buying this for sure.
Yeah, Ludwig is obviously supremely talented, and like you said, amazing ball striker, amazing driver of the golf ball. He's also in that phase where he's like too young and dumb to know what he does and doesn't know. So I think he's just kind of freewheeling it right now. It's like he's not expected to win one of these this early in his career. So I think it's pretty easy for him just to go out there and just go play golf and see where, everything falls out on a Sunday afternoon, So Rory's got scar tissue. John Rahm seems to be the move to live is like mess with his psyche in some ways.
Kind of taking
Brooks
the dog out of him.
I think you're right. I think Rahm's a little self-conscious about it, Like
I mean, he's 100% self-conscious. Like, he's the only one that's felt it in his conscience that it's like, was this the right move? Because he said, they interviewed him. He was like, some guys, like, I never left. Some were a little colder than that. Like, he's definitely cares what people think. And it's messing with his psyche. It's messing with his golf game for sure. I mean, that John Rahm, whatever we saw out there this weekend, was not the same one we saw 12 months ago. It just wasn't even remotely close.
Yeah. Yeah, right now, it just doesn't feel like there's really anybody reaching up and grabbing that, quote unquote second spot. Like Wyndham Clark had been the closest competitor to Scottie on the season so far, and he blows the cut here. It just kind of seems like Scottie and then everybody else right now, and there's no reason Ludwig could not rise above all that, right?
Oh yeah. Real quick on Wyndham falling. If he was on your juice rankings, the fact that he talks shit and then goes out and shoots 78 the next day. Well, I could shoot 66 tomorrow. Well, then he shot 78, misses the cut. It felt like I said it last week. I was like, I feel like he's the only one that's remotely stood up to Scottie as far as like when he's playing well. It's the one guy that felt like was could handle Scottie playing well as well. That's a mouthful there, but he fell apart this week too. But
Yeah. All right, another one. Are we buying or selling Colin Morikawa's major resurgence here?
sell,
God,
sell,
we're too
sell,
locked up. This show is boring. We're too in line.
sell, sell, sell. Like, you know, I call Wyndham a fraud. This guy's the biggest. It's crazy. He was he was tied for the lead for the longest time, and at no point did I feel like he's got a remote chance of winning this. It felt to me when they were all tied. I think it was like him, Ludwig, and Scotty and Max at one point, kind of all tied. At no point did I think out of that group of four it was going to be him winning it. And I thought it at one point. I thought it might be Max. At one point, I thought it might be Ludwig. I definitely thought Scotty for sure, but at no point I'm like, Colin's going to win this. At no point. So I'm selling just because of that.
I'm also selling. I looked at his, on Data Golf. I looked at the stroke gains number and stuff. He was like playing whack-a-mole like we would with his game. Like one day it was like, he gained 3 shots on approach. The next day he's losing and he's picking up 3 shots around the green. And another day his putter was hot compared to the rest of his game. It just like he hasn't had his, complete skill set for it feels like a while.
Yeah.
And he's not as long as some of the, the people that you would consider in his category. His irons have been hit or miss. They haven't been quite as electric as they had been. I just, I don't know. I'm going to sell as well. Long term, I don't know. What do you think he wins another major? Let me ask that.
I don't think so.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah,
he's got
what
two,
we saw,
27.
like what we saw at the PGA when he won, and what we saw at at the Open when he won. Like there was some fight in that guy. I haven't seen that since. Like, remember the shot he hit at the PGA? Do you remember that shot, that driver? I was like, this dude's a fucking dog. Like, this guy's out here for blood and blood only, and no one's walking out of here alive. And I just haven't seen it, other than when he won at the Open. I just haven't seen that since. And I don't know if it's like, I don't know what broke him. I have no idea. But, you could say like the Ryder Cup this past year did, but he was kind of falling apart before that. So, yeah, I don't think so. There's just too much talent out there, and he's kind of starting to be like one of those older, I call them older guys that there's just so much young talent that it's going to become harder and harder and harder to win a major as he continues to get older.
27. He's 27.
That's getting old out there, man. Like Ludwig's what, 22? Like these are the guys that are continually going to come on the tour, and it's only going to get harder from here. And he's playing he's not playing as good as he was 2-3 years ago. So I don't think he is. I truly don't think he is.
He's the same age as Scottie, but he doesn't have a skill set that's better than Scottie in like any of the categories.
Not a single one.
Even iron play.
And as crazy as that sounds, putting is not. I think he always struggles to putt, and it's like. And then when you tag that with like he's not been the ball striker in the last year and a half, 2 years, it's just not a good mix.
No. I mean, he changed putters between rounds Thursday and Friday, I think. So
yeah, he did.
He was still contending somehow. So like it, I don't
lost
know.
in the sauce.
Yeah. All right. Next one. We haven't talked about him yet. One of our kings, Max Homa. Will Max win a major championship?
Oh yeah, bye. I mean, I mean, really, I swear, like outside of one swing, it was the swing on 12, and it wasn't a bad swing. He literally, he did exactly what you do. You hit it to the center of the green, you take your 2-putt, and you move on to 13 and try to birdie 13. He did that. He hit his ball 3 yards too far, and it takes a wicked hop into the bush. Outside of that, like, who knows? Like if he pars that hole, Maybe his psyche's in a little better shape on 13 and 15, and you don't know what happens. I truly think he's this got him over the hump of, I can do this. I know, like it was 64, 65 holes. He was in this tournament. He was right there. And I just don't think he had that. And like, he's never had that moment prior to this. I think he finally had that moment where it's like, I know I can do this. It's always a self belief thing with him. He's got the talent. Um, with his background of losing his car and things like that, it's always been a self doubt thing with him. So I think this is going to get his psyche in the right place.
Yeah, I absolutely buy as well. It just seems like he's on that. It was always like, oh, he hasn't had a top 10 in a major or whatever. Well, he made that check mark last year. Comes right out the very next one and is in contention on a Sunday to win it. Feels like that progression is just there, and he's just building that bank of experience to make it happen. And probably in the very near future. I wouldn't be shocked if it happened at Valhalla, right? Like, there's legitimate chance that he's contending in the next 3 here. So,
for sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna also buy. All right, on to the next one. More Bryson talk. Are we buying that Bryson is going to show up to these majors with his cranked woods and his 3D printed irons and actually contend like he did this week?
I'm gonna buy.
Whoa, okay.
I'm buying this, and for 2 reasons. One, it makes him a bigger asshole, right? And we all need a bigger asshole Bryson in our life. Number 2, look, it seems like he's playing good with him, right? Like, I think he's going to compete with. I don't know. I mean, he's been doing the whole one length thing for a while, but now he's just taking a step further. Long drive driver and 3D printed clubs. Like, it's very par for the course for him to do something along those lines, for what it's worth.
Yeah, I want to sell, but I completely understand exactly what you mean with the buy conversation here. Like, one, you just want him to be there for the content and the entertainment sake of it. But 2, it's like, I mean, he's clearly a very skilled golfer. He's won a major. Like, he was winning PGA Tour events. In some ways, revolutionized some aspects of the game. Honestly, like, as much as I don't want to say that he's done that, like, he was the first one to really, like, come out and go for it, ball speed wise and all that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I guess at the end of the day, I'll buy it because he proved it. Like, Augusta was playing as hard as it ever is going to play. Well, not hard as ever, but as hard as it maybe will.
Yeah.
In this era, and he was there with these stupid clubs. So I don't think it's just going to go away. I guess so. I guess I have to buy.
Look, I just appreciate him leaning into it. Like, I like, if you're going to go full dumbass, like, you really just got to go full dumbass and 3D printed clubs, getting them approved by the USGA. You just have to lean into it. And I appreciate the fact that he's leaning into who he truly is. So good for him.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, last one. And this conversation I know is going to make me sad. Are we buying or selling Rory McIlroy completing the career Grand Slam?
I'm selling it.
I think I am too.
I'm selling it. Look, he's not Tiger, right? But man, it's gonna be when you least expect it to happen. Like, is he gonna win in the next 3-5 years? Maybe not, but it's gonna be that one where everybody's just completely written him off. Absolutely, like, no chance, and then he's gonna pull it out. That's what's gonna happen. But I'm selling it. He's just way too talented to not complete it. It's gonna happen. It's just a matter of when it's gonna happen. I think it's gonna happen when we're not expecting it the most.
So are you buying or selling? You think he's gonna do it?
Yeah, I think he's gonna do it. Oh,
so
sorry. You said sorry. So I would buy. Yeah, sorry. I'm buying that he will complete it. Yes.
Man, this brings me no joy. I'm gonna sell it, and I never felt this way until after this year. I always just thought it was inevitable, right? Like, his history is good here. He's had a few bad breaks. It felt like he was always kind of just gonna do it, right? It's been 10 years since he won a major. He's 35 now. He'll be 35 here soon. I The guys behind him are just. I mean, look at that leaderboard yesterday. Like
Yeah.
it almost just feels like we've witnessed. The Rory era is like we're on the back end. Like it's the window's
Oh,
closing. It feels like, more than it's open.
right. And that's kind of what I was getting at to my point, though, is we're on the back side of it, but it's just gonna. I feel like it's just gonna happen. Maybe not next year, but maybe 2 years from now, maybe 3, where you're just like, he's done. Like it's done. It's over. Like he might have a really bad one, maybe the year prior, and you're like, this is never gonna happen, and that's when he's gonna do it. Truly, like defiant. He's just too talented, man. I want to write it off, but I just can't. It just feels like it's something that he's going to work towards because he knows it's going to cement his legacy, right? Like not many guys have done that. It's going to be what he's going to. It might be the only thing he's going to work for the next 5 to 7 years.
I mean, I agree with all that, and I want it to happen desperately. I'm a huge Rory fan, but it just at this point it feels like it's going to be, Phil's U.S. Open for Rory. It's just
And maybe
going to be the one he wants so bad, and he just never is going to get across the finish line.
I'll tell you that shot of him. I think it was on Friday night. He was the last one on the range. It was just like this guy's. He's wants it. It's almost like he wants it so badly. He wants it too much, right? Which is a thing, right? You start trying, you start pushing, you start forcing things that aren't there. And that's why I said I think it's going to come when even he might think it's never going to happen, right? Like he's accepting the fact that it might never happen, and he just kind of lets it go. Like that's why I feel like he's just you can tell he's forcing it when he gets to the Masters. It is like the fact that he's on the range at like 9:00 at night. It just that picture encapsulates what the Masters is to him. It's just like forcing what's not. He doesn't need to force anything. He's a good player. He's a great player, and yeah, it's in his head now for sure.
Yeah, to your point, like until he's like able to show up there free, which I don't think he's ever going to be able to, just because it is for the career Grand Slam. I just don't think he's going to be able to do it. If you watching the feature group coverage, him playing with Scottie and Xander, like
it looks different.
He looked like the worst player in the group. You know? Like I mean, Scottie obviously is head and heels above those guys right now, and if I had to pick a matchup to go play Augusta tomorrow, like I'd probably bet on Xander over Rory right now. Like that's
a fair. I mean, it's fair. Yeah.
Like I just don't know. It's just tough. It
just
doesn't. I know he's working through some stuff with the swing. I get it. I know that's tough to come into Augusta and have to do that. So maybe he shows up next year and he's back on a heater and things are good. But it feels increasingly less likely, and I'm a little sad about it.
Well, yeah, it is sad. You hate to see a guy get that close and not pull it off.
Yeah. All right. On to some power rankings. Look, the 6-pack power rankings always a big part of the show here. I thought it was a good time. There's such a gap between the Open and the Masters. Between majors that. When you show up at the Masters, you're kind of relying on, what you've seen on tour, some form, some history or whatever from the Masters itself. But then you have once you complete the Masters, we've got a major championship in the books and how guys performed in that. And we got 3 more to go this year. They come once a month from here on out. So I feel like a good time just kind of take some stock of some guys' games and, throw together little power rankings for who we, how would we rank these guys going into the PGA Championship next month? If we had to take 6 dudes to try to like pick winners from for the next 3, like these are the guys, right? Like that's how I'm looking at this list. I'm going to toss it to you first. Who is number 6 on your list?
Tommy Fleetwood.
Oh, I like it.
I know he's not one in America. I get that. It's well documented at this point. But man, like you what we saw on Sundays made me a believer. I did. I mean, he played some really, really, really good golf on Sunday. Still feels like what we talked about, that he misses every putt that means something. Like you're like, this is going to be what gets him like heading in that direction of like, okay, he might maybe make a run, and it's like burn edge. But no, he's 6 on my list. I was pretty encouraged by how he played on Sunday.
Yeah, I had him just outside. He was one of my 2 honorable mentions I have here, so I totally see it there. I'm curious if you have this man on your list. I'm putting him here purely out of respect. We're going to ignore the Masters. Major form has been too good for a long time. Yes, it's been a drought. I think Rory McIlroy can still win one this year. He's my number 6.
I mean, I think the Masters is more of a head thing for him than it is like how he's
That's what I'm
playing.
banking on.
Like he
Yeah.
could be playing the best golf of his life going into the Masters, and I feel like he'd find a way to not play well just because it's in his head. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I don't hate it. I mean, I don't hate that at all.
Do you have him on your list?
I do not. No. Mm-mm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I dug a
Yeah,
little
that's what I was
deeper.
curious about.
He felt like some low hanging fruit. Like you could do this. You could put him in this ranking probably every year for the last 10 years. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I left him off.
Yeah, especially with going back to Valhalla, he might have some good vibes. I don't know. That was the main reason I'm sticking with him here.
No,
All right, number 5
I
for
can
you.
respect that. So my 5 is Willie Z. It did, look, Friday was not kind to him, and honestly, say it cost him the tournament. You know, he shot 77. He ended up even par on the week. Maybe that was part of the draw he got. Yeah, we could talk about it, but I was encouraged. You know, coming off the injury, this was the last tournament he played in last year before he, went on when he went to get his surgery. So I liked what I saw. I know, I think he was top 20, but I liked what I saw. So that's why he's in my top 5.
Yeah, so I mentioned 2 honorable mentions. I actually have 3 because I just thought of another one while we're sitting here. But Willie Z was another honorable mention for me. I'm still a little worried just about he hasn't been like as pure since the back stuff, which that's kind of to be expected, right? He changed his swing, that kind of stuff. Um, and I don't know if the major venues line up as well as some other ones would for him. Like I don't
I
think
could see that.
Yeah, I think he needs more of like as we get to some more like traditional, give me like a traditional U.S. Open setup, and I want Willie Z there, like Willie Z at Oakmont, Willie Z at Shinnecock, places like that. Wingfoot, I'm in. Pinehurst, I don't know if he's got like quite the creativity to like get it
Yeah,
around if
I
he's
would say
not.
Pinehurst is definitely out. Valhalla, obviously we're excited. We're going, right, and it's close to us, but it's kind of meh,
Yeah,
from
that
a
feels like a four
major
season keep
venue
course.
standpoint. Which to me is good for him, right? Like it's kind of just like a normal setup. It's nothing fancy. I could see him maybe, and that's why I thought Valhalla would be a good fit for him. I don't like him at Pinehurst, but I thought with the next major coming up, I think that would be his best fit of the final 3 of the season.
Yeah, the only thing I think with Valhalla is if it plays a little easier, which it might, you could see scores getting to like
Yeah,
14 to 16 or whatever. I just want Willie Z where it's going to be 5 under is going to be the winning score. That's the harder it gets, the better Willie Z plays it to me.
for sure.
That's why I was
Yeah, no,
disappointed with him this week, honestly.
yeah, it's pretty well documented. I mean, he plays a lot better on the toughest courses, which maybe Pinehurst does fit him, right? Like, if it's playing as hard as it's played in the past, like it, winners at 2 or 3 under, it might be one that he can sneak out. So even though I don't think it's a great course fit.
Yeah. All right, number 5 for me. We talked about him earlier. Max Homa. He's on the list here for sure. That he's just playing too well. I think, like I said, his major progression has been the right trajectory. I think it's coming sooner than later.
Yeah, yeah, he's a little higher on my list, but I have him on mine.
Nice. I like that.
What
All
are we
right,
on
number
the
4.
4? 4.
Yep.
Tom Kim. Sunday
Whoa.
66. Sunday 66, and and around. I mean, He was the lowest round by, what was it? 2
2
shots?
shots.
Yeah. So, I mean, seems like he's starting to find his way again a little bit. Like you do that on a Sunday at Augusta, you're on the radar, especially when no one came within 2 shots of him on the day. So yeah, Tom Kim said 4 for me.
Man, I respect it. I don't see that, but that could be a me problem. I can't get. I don't know where I stand on Tom Kim. I gotta figure that out for myself. I'm getting that.
Yeah, I understand that, and I get that.
Yeah. Number 4 for me. This again, purely out of respect because he played like dog shit this weekend. I'm gonna put Brooks on here until he lays multiple eggs. Right. Like I put him on a PGA Championship or U.S. Open setup, and I'm happy to expect him to play well there.
You'll bite. Yeah, you'll bite on that.
I'll bite.
Yeah, I did. He was close to being on the list. And maybe I took too much stock in how he played this week. He's never really been like great at Augusta, other than last year. So I just probably took too much stock in how he played this week to leave him off the list.
I am a little concerned about the putter. We talked about that pre-Masters too.
Yeah,
I didn't look at how he putted numbers wise, but like it feels like he'd been so money in the bank with that putter at majors that like I don't know. Maybe you just need a little. He needs a stranger and he'll go back and it'll be good.
Yeah, yep, and that's the hope anyway. So
yeah, I like this. Your list is you're trying to project right now. That's what you're doing. I respect this.
You get what I'm throwing down right now.
Yeah.
Although I'm about to go super chalky in my last 3, so.
Okay, so I led with the chalk, and then you're okay. I gotcha. All right, who's number 3 for you?
Max. Yeah, I think, like I said, well done. Like he just got over his. He now knows that he can play with the best of the best in a major, on a major setup. And I think that was the missing puzzle piece that he's. Over the last couple of years, people thinking he could finally pull one out. I think that's the missing puzzle piece for him.
Yep, I'm with you there. Number 3 for me, I debated this 2 and 3 slot really hard. Kind of surprised the way I shook out, to be honest with you, once you hear who my 2 is. But number 3, I went with Ludwig.
Okay.
I gave an edge. I gave an experience and track record edge to my number 2. So
okay, all right.
Yeah.
Please tell me it's not Jordan Spieth.
No, God no. We should have done like I don't know. We need to do like a reverse.
The bottom 6.
Yeah.
Let's start with the J names: Justin and Jordan.
Yeah.
No, I get that. But so we're on the number 2.
Yep.
This is where Ludwig falls in for me.
Okay.
I always knew he was a great driver of golf ball. Valhalla, I don't think there's a bad fit for him because he hits the ball so well.
Yeah.
But I truly feel like a U.S. Open setup is just perfect for him. The guys that typically hit fairways are winning the U.S. Open typically, and the guy just does not miss a fairway. Like he never misses. No. And everybody says like Augusta's Open. There's really not, dude. I'd say 95% of his tee shots weren't even missing the center of the fairway by more than 5 yards. So it wasn't like he was like spraying it and barely hitting fairways. Like the dude was threading the needle on everything off the tee.
Absolutely.
So just for that reason alone, driving the golf ball in a major, I think at Valhalla, I think we're going to see some thicker rough. Get that Kentucky bluegrass growing a little bit in May. I think we're going to see some thicker grass and maybe that's where he gets it done because he drives the ball so well.
Yeah, I could definitely see it. Number 2 for me, another excellent driver of the golf ball. Maybe it's never going to happen. I don't know. But it's just absurd. The run in the majors that this guy's been on, it feels like you just knock on the door enough times, eventually somebody's going to open it and let you walk through. I'm taking Xander Schauffele here at number 2.
Oh, no.
I hate myself too. I do.
You need to go find a mirror right now and just look in it and apologize to yourself.
He was my pick not to win this week, right? Like
I know.
Trust me, I'm fully aware of the situation. this is like 8 straight top 20s. I know that's not really contending, but there's been a lot of close calls in there too, and I just feel like, especially to your point, like with Ludwig, right? Like he hits it so straight and so long, and he just peppers fairways and greens when he's on. And I just trust his short game, maybe not putter, but I trust the short game more than I do like Ludwig just right now, right? Like
Yeah.
Ludwig will get there, but he just doesn't quite have the shots yet around the green.
No, I feel you
Um,
there.
so I think Xander's just going to hang around enough that maybe he'll sneak his way in. That's it.
I feel that Xander's built perfectly for live golf. Like he is the best 54-hole golfer in the entire world. I just don't trust it. If he had a 4-shot lead going into a Sunday of a major, I don't even know if I could trust that. I really don't. Like I would lay so much fucking wood down on everybody behind him to win, even if he had a 3 or 4-shot lead in a major. It's yet to be seen if he can put 72 holes together. It really, really is.
Yeah, I get it. I do. And like we talked about in the preview pod, like, if he's leading the tournament and here comes the Sunday 73, and if he's way out of it, he's going to backdoor the top 15 by shooting 64. Like it's very predictable right now, but I'm going to buy the stock. This is like a nice, little Vanguard portfolio,
You're just looking for the steady return. You're not looking for the the home run. Yeah.
I'm in this this is a long-term investment here. Well, I'm in for the long haul here.
If Tom Kim is Bitcoin, Xander Schauffele is like a Vanguard fixed income,
Yes. 100%. All right, I think we both have Scottie number 1, I assume.
Yeah, it's his to lose. Yeah. I think the rest of them are his to lose, just depending on how he handles new fatherhood and everything happening. And, especially if he wins at Valhalla, it's like, then it's really, the pressure is really going to set in, probably. But he seems unfazed by everything.
God, dude, I really hope we do get like an actual Grand Slam run. Like it would be, especially because he won the Players. Like you just tack on the Players on top of it.
That's like hitting for the cycle with a Grand Slam, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Man, that would be wild. My only other honorable mention, just because he was doing some stuff. I don't know that he can contend at all the majors, but Cam Smith surprised me.
A little bit. Yeah, he played. What did he shoot on Sunday? Oh, he shot 71 on Sunday, but it looked good. Like it looked pretty good.
He hung around a lot more. I just always forget about him because when he was on tour, like he was so inconsistent. He'd just show up and like blitz fields and stuff. But now that he's on live and you don't see him regularly, you just forget about him. And then it's like, oh shit, yeah, Cam Smith. He's pulling out for eagle, and his putter catches fire, and he has like 18 putts in a round once. It's
Saturday, as hard as it played, he was a 5-footer away from a bogey-free round on Saturday. As hard as it played on Saturday, he was a 5-footer on 18 away from being bogey-free. That to me, that's a good point. I didn't even think about that, but yeah, I would say he's definitely an honorable mention for me for sure. Now that I think about it more, I'm like, I kind of wish I'd put him in the top 6, but it is what it is at this point.
Yeah. All right. Anybody else we didn't mention you want to talk about?
You gotta have to mention Bryson a little bit, right? Like this has been his best major finish, I think. I could be wrong about that, but since he said the whole par 67 thing or par 68 thing, this has been his best finish. I'd say he's probably in there somewhere. Look, he's not a big name, but Adam Schenk having a low key, like pretty freaking good year. I don't know about majors, but he's having a good year, and he's T12 this week, so I don't know. It's not flashy. Like his game is not flashy, but he's just solid, right? And if you get like a U.S. Open that's like around even par or a couple under, like he could pull the Wyndham, right? Where kind of like unexpected comes out and wins something. So he was someone I thought of.
this sounds disrespectful. I don't mean for it to be, but he's got the type of game that like I aspire to have, right? Like
Oh, 100.
I just want like that boring game. Let me just like, I'm not super long, but I'm hitting some good fairways. I'm hitting like 70% of my greens.
Like, and
I
people
can
almost
putt.
forget you're even on the course. Like, it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah. That's what he makes me think of, right?
yeah, yeah. Real quick too, Scam Young sucking everybody back in. He
Oh,
he T9s
I
this week. Oh god, there's gonna be so much money put on him this week at I think he's in the field at Heritage. Ungodly amount of money probably going to put everybody. He just gets sucked back. He sucks everybody back into his vacuum of scammy. It's
he,
I oh,
Cam
get him
Young
out of here.
is. I don't have the hate for him that you do. I honestly like he's got a really good major track record. And granted, he hasn't won a regular PGA Tour event yet. But he kind of feels like Xander without the PGA Tour wins. Like he shows up when it gets
Yeah,
tough. He's in these
I
majors. He's got several top tens at this point, but he just hasn't won yet. So it feels
yeah.
to me like it's coming for him. I don't know. I think it's coming.
I'm so bitter. I bet on him so many times for him to just either crap down his leg or get like a T3. And I'm bitter because of that. It's that's all it stems from. I don't hate him as a person. He's a super talented guy. I've lost enough money on him to just I know when to call a spade, and that's what we're calling him. So
I'm hoping. I think he went off somewhere between 40 and 60 to 1 a lot of places for the Masters. And if we got that number at the Masters, I'll line up and bet that, at the PGA, depending
somewhere
on.
where it's like you don't have like a home field advantage of like playing it a lot and stuff like that. Is that kind of line you're thinking on?
Sure, but I just think like it feels to me like he's just going to be around. Like he'll give you a sweat for a decent number, like
Yeah, I don't hate
versus
that.
you might have to bet, if you want to try to bet Xander, it's going to be like 14 to 1, like I feel like you can get the same result or the same sweat out of somebody who's 3 to 4 times the odds. So
Look at us getting sucked back into the scam young web.
it's a
It's a
pyramid scheme.
vacuum of
Yeah.
money, dude. Like he vacuums all your money up and never wins. So it truly is. It's truly an amazing talent that he has.
I don't know. He hooked me up big time. Him and Willie Z hooked me up on a top 10 parlay this week, so I can't talk any crap. So.
Well, at least he won you money.
Yeah. All right. That pretty much does it for the Masters for us. Man, already can't wait for next year. Just it's the best weekend of the season or of the year for a golfer. And yeah, I mean, just early call? Does Scottie win next year?
It'd be hard to say no.
Yeah.
It seems like it's just like Augusta's like one of those places when you figure out how and what to do and you're doing it really well. It's just like he could be not playing well next year and you can come in and be like, he knows the course. Like he plays well here. It's the same thing with Phil. We've always done with Phil at the Augusta, right? Like he could be playing some of his worst golf. It's like this dude's about the T10, like or top 10, just because he just plays good here, right? And I think Scotty's kind of fallen into that. Like he just kind of knows how to play the course now, and he knows all the nuances. That it's going to be really hard to say no to that question.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, shout out to Scottie. We finally got a one and done winner. We took the chalk and the chalk hit. Shout out to my son Zach. Look, Scottie winning his first Masters is Zach's first like professional golf memory. Much kind of like in the way that mine is Tiger winning, which is pretty cool when you just kind of
That's awesome.
think about those parallels. He was rooting so hard for Scottie all weekend. He was stoked that we picked him to win this week. First thing he said to me when I got home last night was like, "Dad, my pick won for you." Like it was awesome. So maybe we got to turn the keys over to my 6-year-old. I don't know,
but he knows we can't pick Scotty every week, right?
That's the problem. Yeah. So
if we could, I would.
Me too. It's yes, cosign. It's cool to see his young golf fandom here. So that's
cool.
Yeah, Scottie hooked us up with $3.6 million. massive jump all the way up to 2,231st place. We now have a little over 5 million banked, which means we are just 1.8 million out of the money. The leader is at 12.3 million, so we're still a ways back there, but we've got a run of a few signature events and a major here coming up that, hey, don't let us get hot, baby. Let's
Yeah.
find something.
Yeah, I mean, looking back on the players, it probably cost us what 90 at the players, 90 or yeah, about 100. And then, realistically, we would have taken Brooks this week, and he won 57. So it cost us about 140 not to take Scottie the players, but a win's a win. I'm not going to complain at this point. I'm glad we used him when he won. Yeah, I'd have been like super disappointed if we used him and then he not won. So,
Yeah.
I was really rooting for Max, but I was like, part of me is just like, God, if we use Scottie and this is the 1 week he doesn't win, I'm going to be so pissed. So.
All right. This one's tough for me. I mean, signature event off of a major it's cool because like I love this event and this course. But man, for making picks, it's tough because it's hard to know these guys' motivations. Obviously, there's a ton of money on the line, but like, some of these guys that played well, do you go with them or do you not? Because they were kind of in the grind for the whole weekend. I struggle with that personally. I have a pick in mind. I'm not in love with it. So if you come to the table with something a little bit more interesting to me, I'm very easily swayed in this one. Uh, Somebody who was played the weekend at Augusta, wasn't competitive, hasn't been that great this season, but he's got like 4 top 5s here at Harbor Town. I think it might be time to burn PC. No hat Pat, can't lay.
I don't hate it. He's played well here in the past. I don't hate that
Yeah,
pick
that's the only
at
reason
all.
why. He wasn't out there grinding. He's kind of leisurely Sunday at Augusta. Comes to a place he's familiar with, seems to knock the rust off a little. I don't know. Feels like it makes sense to me.
I don't hate it. Yeah, so I went between two guys. One was up there this weekend. One just came off a really good round. The two guys I was kicking around was Max and Tom Kim. Feels like a really good fit for Tom Kim. Look, like we know how golf goes, right? Like when you're feeling it and you're playing good and you have confidence, like it just seems super, super easy. I can't imagine any other place in the entire world where you shoot that score and you're not just bursting with absolute confidence. You know, I know it's an elevated event and it would be taking a risk and taking him for sure, not taking one of the bigger names, but that I ultimately lean towards Tom Kim just because like the guy's just got to be full of confidence at this point after having the low score on Sunday at Augusta by 2 shots and rolling into an elevated event.
Yeah, it looks like his only history here. He missed the cut last year. Don't love that, but I agree with you. Course fit wise, it would make sense if he's like striking it well. It's a course that makes total sense for him. I worry a little bit of a letdown for Max. Not that I don't trust him, but
just like
it
he
would be easy to
grinded
see,
so hard.
Yeah, just like a little bit less sharp, a little tired. I could see that. Let me run this one past you because I considered this. Not sure I love it, but I think it could be different. Wyndham Clark. I don't necessarily love the fit for him. But he coming off the miscut. He's rested.
I mean,
shows up in these big events.
He's got the shrink. Probably like, hey, let's dust it off. Let's move on to the next tournament. He's got some people hating on him right now after the live comments, and then he, falls apart on Friday. I don't think it's a great fit because it's not a bomber's course by any means.
No.
But I just think when he's hitting, he's kind of like Scottie in a way. It's just like when he's hitting the ball well, there's really not a bad course fit.
Yeah,
realistically,
that feels like the let's get cute pick though. I don't know if I want to do that.
Yeah, it does. I will tell you, the more I think about it, like Patrick Cantlay, he seems like the play.
I know he's going to hurt my feelings, but I'm also like,
And
we're not
I'm gonna
saving him
hate
for a
rooting for him.
major.
I'm gonna tell you that right now. I'm gonna hate rooting for him. But
Yeah,
this is
I
the
just know it's
tournament I
like
would do it at.
we're not saving him for a major. Maybe we'd use him at Memorial. He's got good history at Muirfield. Just a shot in the dark. Patrick Cantlay shows up at a place he's played well at. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. The more we talk about it, Patrick Cantlay feels like the right play.
All right. I hate those words just came out of your mouth, but we're gonna. I think I'm good with it. Let's do it. I'll wear
Look,
this one.
we're on a birdie train. We're coming up on a tight hole. We just gotta knock the 4-iron down the fairway, okay? And that's what we're doing with this pick.
All right. Good. Patrick Cantlay, the back nine 6-pack one and done pick of the week. I think it's time. We're heading to the patio.
Yeah, and I'm going to go first. And I actually changed my question after I saw the layout of our show tonight.
Okay.
Coming off the heels of Kentucky hiring their new basketball coach just this week, Mark Pope, alumni, played on the 96 national championship team. Obviously his dream job, right? Clearly. I don't think he has any aspirations past, like, this is his dream job. So my question is, if you could pick a dream job in sports as a coach, like GM, whatever it may be, what would that be?
Okay, so you're thinking more like non-player division, right?
Yeah, no, you're not a player. It's like coaching, GM, front office.
Hmm.
I mean, I really hope you're striving for more than being like an offensive coordinator or something. I really hope.
No,
But hey,
yeah,
if that's your thing, like,
look, who among us has not, fantasy managers and whatnot, has not thought that we could be a GM, right? Like, sure, you could be a GM of, and I think to your point, it always feels good when you've got, guys that go back and succeed at their alma mater or, the place they played, or, those are good stories. Like, you go to your hometown and, you play for your hometown team, whatever, coach for your hometown team. Those are all cool.
Oh, yeah.
Honestly, it's tough I wouldn't want any college job of any kind just right now. It just feels impossible. Even in a place like, UK basketball, Duke, whatever, Alabama football, whatever it is, like, I don't want to deal with all the stuff around college athletics right now.
Yeah, it just feels like a lot to manage. Like, you're managing NIL, you're managing boosters, you're managing, 18, 19, 20-year-old kids. Like, that's hard enough as it is. But I get your train of thought there for sure.
It feels like being a commissioner of anything would be also impossible. Like, imagine being Jay Monahan right now. Like, and I don't want that job.
You truly can't make everybody happy. Like, that's what that job comes down to, right?
Yeah. Yeah, dude. I think like being like an NFL GM would just be kind of fun, to be honest. Like, building a team.
But of like what team though?
I mean, it's hard not to say the Bengals as a Cincinnati kid. Would it be sick if, like, I don't know, Jerry Jones finally gets up control of the Cowboys and you get to try to, like, revive the Cowboys? Yeah, like, that would be kind of cool if you were the person that turned around a team that hasn't won since the early 90s. Like, that'd be sick. But yeah, I think, I'll say the Bengals. Like, being GM of the Bengals would be sick. Like, it's a mid-market team. Current players aside, right? Like, I just think it would be cool. Go build your hometown team. Go win a championship for your hometown. Something like that would probably be the most, like, of interest to me.
Yeah, so our line of thinking is pretty similar. Different sport, but I was thinking of, like, the Bengals don't have a history of, like, I mean, they've been to Super Bowls, right? But, like, they don't have a gigantic history of being a great franchise. Where the other sports, one of the other professional sports team in our town does, right? Cincinnati Reds is well documented. They've had some of the best teams ever in the history of baseball. The Big Red Machine back in the 70s was, we had that, and we've had like numerous Hall of Fame players that come through here. So it's a first professional baseball team. It's got history, right? Now, especially like small market, you're kind of it feels like everybody else is playing with modern day golf clubs, and the small market teams are playing with persimmons. You know what I mean? That's truly what it feels like in baseball. So like being the GM of the Reds that brings a World Series back to Cincinnati would be like, I'm sure it's not the most popular because baseball's popularity is kind of falling off a little bit, but like as far as a franchise that has history of being great and hasn't won anything in 34 years, be awesome, right? To me, it'd be a dream come true. But my question was dream job. I don't know if that would be my dream job. My dream job would be either to be the basketball coach at Kentucky or the football coach at Ohio State. I think those two jobs, as much as it is to manage, one, Kentucky's just hired their 8th coach ever in modern basketball history. So there's not a lot of them that they've had. So you'd be in like a very small group of people that have ever held that job. Ohio State, it's like, Columbus has one professional sports team. You're an absolute legend. Even the worst of coaches, right? As far as like I think of a record against Michigan and stuff. You're still a legend. Like I had a run in with John Cooper at Scioto Country Club. The guy had one of the worst records against Michigan as a head coach, but he's still just plopping his way around Columbus, and everybody's walking through the clubhouse and everybody's like, hey coach, kind of doing the whole thing. Like that to me is like incredible. And you don't get that anywhere else outside of like college athletics, especially in towns that don't have, they lack professional sports. You are the guy, right? Like in Columbus, if you're an old Ohio State football coach, you are the guy. Lexington, if you're the Kentucky basketball coach, you're the most popular, most known person in the entire city, probably even sometimes the state, right? So that would be like my dream. But as far as like job that I would want to like bring back a championship, probably be the Reds. But if like dream job, a college coach of some sort, like of teams that I like, would be probably up there pretty high too.
Yeah, just if I thought about a little bit about like golf and having golf on the brain, I do think Fred Ridley's job would be pretty sick, like chairman of the Masters in Augusta. That'd be a sick one. That's probably my number one in golf. I do kind of sneaky, like president of the USGA, like Mike Wan's job. It would be kind of cool to be sort of, I mean, like you'd be like the arbiter of golf, really, like the rules of golf, kind of in some way.
Wouldn't be terrible.
It would be, I like to think of myself as a good steward of the game. Like I think I would embrace the challenge of trying to do what's right by the game, and taking on some of this equipment stuff, right? Like
it'd be fun. I think it'd be fun. Yeah.
Within golf, I think those would be kind of the ones I'd be interested in.
Yeah, I could. Yeah, it wouldn't be the worst job in the world. I can tell you that. So.
No, especially Fred Ridley's, man. That's gonna be.
No kidding.
Yeah. All right. I still have Masters on the brain, and I thought about this a lot this whole weekend. Just with how firm and fast it was playing and stuff, and if you were playing, what is the number one shot on that course you would not want to hit, or you would not be looking forward to hitting?
This is going to be a surprise, I think. And the only reason I say this is because I can turn the ball over. I struggle to turn the ball over. Typically, things go awry when I try to turn the ball over. Dude, that tee shot on 13 would have me thinking the entire day. It just would.
Really?
It doesn't set up for a cut at all. and the whole day I'd be thinking like I'm gonna have to turn this over, and it's like, is it gonna turn into a hook or is it gonna be a gigantic block? Like I would just be thinking about that tee shot the entire day, and to me, for someone that cuts the ball, would be the hardest tee shot on the course. It just would, right? I would be thinking about that all day long till I got to that hole. I know that's probably surprising. I thought about 12. Like I would be thinking about that, but like that tee shot, every time I saw a ball hit on that tee this week, I'm like, dude, this hole does not set up for me. Every time I saw it, I was like, this is oh my God, I'd be so freaking terrified on that tee box trying to get it just something not in that creek. So, or hitting a tree right off the tee. So,
yeah. I think I've got it narrowed down to 2. I do want to also say, like, I wouldn't want to play number 5. I think 5 would hurt my feelings.
That crossed my mind
would.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so freaking hard, and I just know it would hurt my feelings. The 2 shots that are kind of stuck in my head. First is the approach shot on 11, because there is 100% chance I'm hitting it in the water on that hole. There's like no way I don't.
Yeah, you get that left miss. See, I like that. The water on that hole doesn't worry me because if I'm missing the iron, it's going to be a block. I'm going to be chipping from over there. Yeah, I can understand when your miss is left that water is very much in your head.
I swear, I could aim at 12 green from that fairway and just hit. I'll end up hitting like a rope hook that just rolls across the green right into the water. Yeah, that one would mess with me a little. But the one I honestly like, because I know I couldn't drive the green, I think I would be stuck on hole 3 for hours, because I would have to have, it would be like a nippy wedge to like land on, that like 10-yard wide green or whatever, and I would just be ping ponging back and forth all day long. Like I would never have enough spin on it to hold the green.
You did say that. You were like, yeah, you were just like, it would be an absolute disaster on that hole.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I had to go one deeper, I thought about 5. That tee shot, it's what nightmares are built of. Like, and I know a lot of people that they walked down the left side of that hole and seen that bunker, and everybody that I've heard that's seen it, they're like, dude, it looks like you're hitting into a simulator screen. Like you have to hit it over a simulator screen to get it just back into the fairway. And like knowing that, like it's truly a penalty to hit into that bunker. Yeah, that's nightmare fuel for sure. The only thing that doesn't scare me is my miss is right. So like I feel like if I'm gonna miss it, it's probably gonna be in those woods. But anybody that gets the ball moving left, yeah, that tee shot would not be fun at all. Like, no. At all.
All right, bonus question, because I saw this floating around social media a lot. If you got to play the Masters from 100 yards on every single hole, would you win the Masters?
No.
I don't think so either.
Nope. And here's why. Again, I've never been there, so I don't know. But I've talked to people that have been there. They're like, you look at approach shots, even from 80 yards, and like for what we normally see, you'll look at the green where the pin's at, and you're like, there's not a pin placement on the entire green, like because of all the slopes. You're like, there's no way there's flat areas up there. So like just having that thought in my head, and for whatever reason, like I've just the last 4 or 5 years, I can't control spin with wedges. Like every once in a while I can, but it like 10% of the time I can. The other 90%. Is just zipping back, and that would just not play from 100 yards there at all. No. Like I'd have to hit everything 20 yards deep and hope to God it sucks back. So no, I'm going absolutely not. I think you could even move it up to like 70 yards and probably say no.
That might make it worse. Like having more like touch.
That honestly might make it worse. Yeah, I could see how that would definitely make it worse.
Yeah, I thought that was an interesting question. I agree.
I saw another question like that. That was like, anybody that's like over a 5, like if you could tee off from the green, like the front of the green, like would you win the Masters? And I would tell you anybody above a 5, probably not, realistically, because some of the hardest shots on that course are putting. Depending where the
There's
pins
just
are at, like that could be like I could see dudes 6 and 7 putting those greens that are like a 4 or 5 handicap, easily 6 or 7 putting greens.
oh yeah, like the speeds they play at with the slope, like there's so many putts those guys hit from like 3 feet that are like a cup outside the hole. Like there's yeah, you would have so many, like you said, 4 and 5 putts that
Yeah,
yeah, you
yeah,
wouldn't be able to
for
finish under
sure.
par.
Yep.
All right. Well, man, that was Masters Week. We did it.
We're on to the Heritage and then the PGA, which we'll be at, which I'm looking forward to. I love the Masters, but knowing we're going to be at the PGA is making me excited for the PGA.
Yeah, and more importantly, you had the first Weekend Warriors post of the year has gone out. We are officially in Weekend Warriors season.
Oh, yes, we are.
League is starting up in 2 weeks. Starting to get, like we said, we were in the 80s today. It's prime golf season is upon us, and
Oh, yes.
that is the back nine six packs time to shine. So we look forward to seeing you guys out there. Thanks for everybody who's watched, listened, commented, subscribed, liked, reviewed, all of that stuff. Really appreciate it. It was fun just to be engaged with everybody throughout the tournament. It was really, truly a blast. So, again, thank you all for watching, listening. Please subscribe, rate, and review, and we will see you next time. Cheers.
See ya.